Right, now I'm just going to do a quick video on how, you grafted into Israel, because I'm just going to go over it quickly. You can check out aka Watchman Wake Up's YouTube channel, Matthew for Yeshua and Andrew Date. You know what I mean? I'm a babe. I'm just going to briefly go over it, but if you really want an in-depth look on it and the scripture, I suggest you go into their YouTube channels and look at their videos. So I'm just going to go into it. Right, what Israel did to get kicked out of the land, to get scattered into the Gentiles. So I'm going to go from verse 7, chapter 17. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods and walked in their statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And the kings of Israel which they had made, and the children of Israel did secretly those things which were not right against the Lord their God, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set themselves up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord's anger. For they served idols, wherefore of the Lord had said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. Christmas and Easter. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I've commanded your fathers, which are sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Lord their God. See, there you go, belief. Not hearing, not doing the thing, not doing his commandments. And they reject his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. That's the book of the law, Moses' law. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments. We don't have to keep the commandments. They left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made from them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and moved them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. So I'm going to end it there. So there you go. That's what Israel did to get kicked out of the land. You know, all the things we seem to see in all the Christian churches, you know, statues, graven images, Christmas and Easter, Halloween, all that pagan bullshit that's promoted. You know, take heed. You know, and we're going to cover that, what Paul says. So we are going to jump. I'm just going to go into Matthew 10:6 quickly. No, sorry, actually, I'm going to go into Matthew 15:24. But Yeshua answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So keep that in mind. You don't want to be called a Gentile. Means without God. You want to be grafted into the commonwealth of Israel, which we'll get into in a sec. So we'll go to Acts 15, just to prove a point that the apostles were teaching the covenant from Horeb to convert the Gentiles, to graft them into Israel. But write unto them that they should abstain from pollution idols. So what did the northern kingdom get kicked out of the land for doing? And from fornication, from things strangled, and from blood. So again, 2 of the 10 commandments, 2 of the eating clean of the rainbow covenant. For Moses of old time, in every city that was preached unto them, been read in the synagogues every Sabbath day. So, right, there you go. They're grafting the Gentiles in to Israel through the covenant that was made with Israel at Horeb. Right, so we're going to go to Romans 11 now. Just take heed there what Messiah said. Came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's why he died on the cross. So they could be grafted back in, because God gave them a bill of divorcement. And in the law, obviously they're the bride, so God divorced them. Obviously in the law, if a woman commits adultery, she can't remarry unless the husband dies. So Jehovah pulled a fast one on the accuser there, allowing then a portion of the Gentiles and for the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom, for them to be grafted in back into the covenant through his sacrifice. Not so you could just trample all over it and do what you please, like you think. Right, just a quick one now. So we'll go into Romans 11. Say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid, for I am also an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people which he foreknew. What ye not know what the scriptures saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession for God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thy altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so then at this present time there is a remnant, not 2-point-something billion Christians, a remnant. You know, the ones who want to actually hear the voice, the lost sheep, and be grafted back in, want the truth. And if by grace there is no more of works, otherwise we're going to skip this. For I speak to you Gentile inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office, but by any means I may provoke to emulation them that are which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, see, casting away of whom? The northern kingdom of Israel. What shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? But if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy, and if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree, Yeshua, boast not against the branches, but if thou boastest, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Wow, because of unbelief they were broken off. and thou standest by faith. Be not more high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Behold therefore the goodness and severity of God on them which found severity, but towards thee goodness. If thou continue in goodness, otherwise thou shalt also be cut off. You see, he's telling you, don't do the same thing Northern Kingdom of Israel did to get cut out in the first place. Which was what we just read. They stopped listening to the commandments. They started doing all pagan witchcraft. And which is exactly what the Christian church is doing today. But they, for some warped reason, think that they can get away with it. Like, oh no, we're born to do all these abominations. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again. See, if they abide not still in unbelief, so you need to keep the commandments, don't you? As we just saw, obedience is belief. For thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree. How much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? So, right, I'm just going to leave it there briefly. I'm going to go into Ephesians 2, 11 and 12. Right. Therefore remember that you, being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who were called uncircumcised, by which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, that at that time you were out without Yeshua, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope, and without God in the world. So if you're not grafted in to the commonwealth of Israel, to the covenants of promise, you're without God. You've got no hope in the world. So you're not saved by grace. You need to get into covenant with him. You know, like the apostles were teaching the Gentiles. Like they were teaching them the 10 Commandments. They were teaching them the covenants of promise, sorry. That's the only way you're going to receive the Holy Spirit of truth. Through obedience. I'm right then, yeah. Again, we want to ignore. That's for the Jews, that's for this, like, you know, that's for Jews, that doesn't apply to us anymore, blah, 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 whatever. You know, vain, rubbishy talk. We're going to go into Revelation 21. And I'm going to end it here. So if I can find where I need to read. Yeah, see, look. This is New Jerusalem. That great city, the holy Jerusalem, descended out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like to a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, 12 tribes of Israel, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written on there, which were the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So the 12 gates to New Jerusalem are the 12 tribes of the children, are the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, children of Israel, sorry. So how if you're not grafted into Israel, you're not even going into New Jerusalem. There's no Gentile gate there, is there? People just like chuck out 3/4 of the book and then, you know, read a paragraph of Paul's letter saying love, love, saved by grace, love, twisting it to their own destruction. Yeah, on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. So 12 gates to New Jerusalem are the 12 gates of the tribes of Israel. So if you want to go there, you've got to get grafted into the Commonwealth of Israel, into the covenants of promise that were given to Israel. And again, like God said through to Abraham, through all nations. Sorry, I'm just basically, before I tongue twist myself. All the nations of the earth will be blessed through Abraham. And why was that? Think about it. Because his seed was scattered into him. You know, it's all throughout prophecy that was going to happen. Like I said, I'm not going into that. I'm not going to speak presumptuously on things. I'll just give you the basic there. That basically, Yeshua said he came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The apostles were grafting the Gentiles into the Commonwealth of Israel through the covenants of promise, the 10 Commandments, and eating clean, the Rainbow Covenant. And then again, New Jerusalem has 12 gates for 12 tribes. So if you're not grafted into Israel, you don't go to New Jerusalem, dear. If you're not keeping the covenant of promise, you can't be even grafted into Israel to go. Ain't no Gentile gate.